Sure, one last kick. This is gonna be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable. Nice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and bettered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. A very good afternoon and welcome to Premier League Live. Welcome back after our first international break of the season. It probably felt like a full season in and of itself. We're back with Premier League action and 5 games for you this weekend here on LFS, 3 of which are today. So a lot to get your teeth into this Saturday. And we start with Arsenal, who last time out fell to the sword of the champions at Anfield just before the international break. They're back and they're facing Nottingham Forest under a new manager after Nuno Espirito Santo was sacked during the international break. Former Spurs manager Ange Postecoglou is now in charge at Forest, and he takes charge of his first game at the Emirates, no less, and against a team who he hasn't beaten yet as a manager in the Premier League. Ange Postecoglou, and we'll see if he can change that this afternoon. That is our first game of the weekend. This is the full roster. A busy weekend in the Premier League as we return, and a lot of football to come as September gets underway here this weekend. Bournemouth take on Brighton in that battle of the South Coast teams at 3 o'clock. It's Sunderland heading to Sellers Park from 3 as well. Everton, their second game in their new stadium, they host Aston Villa from 3. It's Fulham v Leeds and Newcastle v Wolves as well, 3 o'clock kickoffs. Then we're back this evening. We're in East London as West Ham take on Tottenham Hotspur in a London derby. And it's a London derby doubleheader this evening as we head to West London as Brentford take on Chelsea at 8 o'clock. Then tomorrow a doubleheader on Sunday action as the champions Liverpool look to make it 4 wins out of 4 to start the season. They head to newly promoted Burnley. And the Manchester derby is our game of the week at the Etihad Stadium. That is 4:30 tomorrow. We will have 5 games for you here on LFS. This one at 12:30, the game between West Ham and Spurs, Brentford, Chelsea, and then the 2 games tomorrow as well. A jam-packed weekend after returning from the international break. There is confirmation of all of those games that we have for you. A busy Saturday of action certainly here on LFS. But it is back to the Premier League, and let's just recap quickly before we get to the teams where each team sits. And Liverpool sitting top of the tree. It's where they're used to sitting in recent weeks and months. They sit top, 3 wins out of 3. The only side to have a 100% record heading into last week's international break. Arsenal lost that 100% record against Liverpool at Anfield, losing by a goal to nil. That Dominic Szoboszlai free kick was the first goal that Arsenal have conceded this season, and what a goal it was to concede. Chelsea are in second, they're unbeaten. They're in second on 7 points. Spurs in 4th as well. They've got off to a good start, as have Everton under David Moyes as well. And Sunderland, newly promoted Sunderland, are up the table as well, and a number of other teams you can see there. As we head down to the bottom half, Manchester City in 13th. Just 1 win from their first 3 opening games. And rock bottom of the table is a Wolves side who are yet to pick up a singular point, and an Aston Villa side, second bottom, who are yet to score this season. We will see if any of that will change this weekend, as the players are now out on the Emirates pitch. And let's get you the teams then for this one here this afternoon at the Emirates. Starting with the home side, Arsenal. And some interesting team news. 3 changes from that defeat to Liverpool at Anfield. David Raya starts in goal. Urian Timber is at right back, continues at right back. A centre-back partnership, of course, no William Saliba after his injury at Anfield just 2 weeks ago. So Christian Mosquera comes in alongside Gabriel. Ricardo Calafiori continues at left back. Martin Odegaard returns after he came off the bench at Anfield. He starts, but no Declan Rice. He's on the bench this afternoon. Martin Zubimendi and Mikel Merino are in midfield, with Eberechi Eze, Noni Madueke and Victor Gyökeres, all 3 players signed this summer, starting up front for Arsenal. On the bench for the Gunners, Kepa, White, Ngapié, another new signing signed on deadline day. Lewis Skelly, Waneri, Rice, Dowman, Martinelli and Trossard. For Ange Postecoglou's Nottingham Forest, they come to this one with a lot of change, but no changes to their starting 11 from their defeat on match day 3. Matt Sell starts in goal. Nico Williams, Milenkovic, Murillo and Morato are in defence. In midfield, Sangare and Anderson is in defensive midfield, with Gibbs White in the 10, Hudson Odoi off the left, Dan Ndoi off the right, and Chris Wood leads the Forest line. On the bench for Forest, Victor, Boli, Savona, Luis, Hutchinson, Yates, McAtee, Bakwa and Kalimuendo. It is a huge game to kick off what has been a bit of a drought without the Premier League. Well, let's say that. We're glad it's back, and it's back for at least another couple of weeks. And Ange Postecoglou gets his first game in charge of Nottingham Forest underway at the Emirates. It's an easy place to go, surely. It's Arsenal against Nottingham Forest. Kickoff is next. A very good afternoon and welcome to LFS for this one. Great to have you all with us once again as we get match day 4 of the Premier League season underway this afternoon. And looking to keep you right up to date with it right the way throughout the afternoon. Of course, we'll have our full roundup of all the 3 o'clock games in our evening fixture this evening around 5:30. We'll round up all of the 5 3 o'clock kickoffs, so a lot to get through a little later on. But here, all the action comes down to these two. They were meeting in a derby just last season, the North London derby. Nottingham Forest have the new man in charge in Ange Postecoglou. He won the Europa League with Spurs, and we'll analyse all of that situation of the change of managerialship at Nottingham Forest over the international break at half-time. But we will have a quick chat about it here as well. Our referee, Darren England, here this afternoon. And that new feature that I've seen a few times, the ref cam, which is straight out of a video game, but we've already seen some great shots already from the ref cam. And we're about to get underway then here at the Emirates. Arsenal in their red shirts, white shorts, and Nottingham Forest in their away strip of that kind of whitish beige shirts and navy shorts here this afternoon. And that gets us off and running, and Ange Postecoglou said it was good to be back. Well, I'm sure there's nothing quite being on that touchline and back managing. He's only missed 3 Premier League games over the last few seasons. Obviously missed the first 3 of this season after he was sacked after his Europa League victory for Spurs last season. So he knows the Premier League, he knows his way around it, and he knows his way around Arsenal. Without major success, as I said, 4 meetings he's had against Arsenal. Ange Postecoglou, he's lost 3 of them. All 4 of them, of course, came as Tottenham boss over the previous 2 seasons. Our VAR, by the way, today is Andy Madley. So hopefully we won't need to hear from him. Fingers crossed. We already had our little rant before the international break about VAR. Let's hope that we've moved on. They've done their homework while they've had a few weeks off. Cheap giveaway there by Arsenal in the midfield. Nicely picked up by Milenkovic, who stepped in there. Now Hudson-Odoi switches it across. Gibbs White tried to reverse it in behind. Bounces back to Elliot Anderson. Positive start there for Forest. Here's Nico Williams. Back to Elliot Anderson, who's under a bit of pressure there from Viktor Gyökeres, but Anderson does well to get it back to Milenkovic. It was a little bit of an underhit pass from Arsenal, just allowed Forest to step in and win the ball. And that long ball by Murillo has gone all the way through to David Raya. But one thing about Arsenal, a lot of criticism after that Liverpool game on match day 3. That defeat at Anfield, probably one of the toughest, if not the toughest place to go in the Premier League, is Anfield. Liverpool just lost once there last season. They were almost impeccable at home in the last campaign en route to being champions, Liverpool, and Arsenal don't have a good record there, hadn't won in 13 years at Anfield, so it was always going to be an uphill battle to get anything out of that game, albeit they'd actually drawn the last 3 before that, so they knew how to get results. But it was just that unbelievable free kick from Dominik Szoboszlai that separated the sides, and some would say that is a sign of champions, that you can get the job done even when probably Liverpool weren't anywhere near their best on that day. And Arsenal, really didn't look like scoring either. It was kind of one of those games where both teams kind of cancelled each other out for the vast majority of it. It was more on the defensive side than anything else in that big matchup. That's a cheap giveaway there again from Arsenal. It was Eze this time. Now breaking away is Gibbs White. Out to the left-hand side for Hudson-Odoi. And Hudson-Odoi with a very telegraph pass back to his defenders there. Just about find Milenkovic, but Gyökeres was on the scene. Here's Nico Williams down the right-hand side, played through toward Dan N'Doye, who went down. The referee waved away any chances of a foul as Calafiori's on the ball now. Nice little play out to the left-hand side for Eze. And back it comes to Gabriel. Welcome in everybody joining us in the chat tablet. Class Acts is the first one here. Thank you very much for joining us. Andy says, hey man, Rice is on the bench. Is bad for my FPL team. Obviously he's only resting him. Yes, he is indeed. It's nothing too big of a deal. Dan N'Doye's still down here. He was complaining the referee didn't stop the game. Now the referee has stopped the game, and Dan and Doy's pointing to his sock, saying that his sock was ripped. I mean, they kind of just tussle for the ball there, Calafiori and Doy. He does catch him, to be fair. His sock is ripped. He's lucky he didn't come away with an injury there, Dan and Doy, but he is okay. It was a little bit of a scruffy challenge from Riccardo Calafiori. It looked a little bit nothing to it at first glance, but you see the replay and he definitely rips the sock. That's no doubt. I was just checking my FPL team. I kept Gyökeres in this one and Eze. I put those two in for this one. I took Raya out because I think Forest will score. I put Henderson in, Dean Henderson. So yeah, 2 Arsenal players in this one. But again, neutral. There's a nice little faker. Finds Gyökeres, cuts it back here to Moreno on the spin. Is Ødegaard who tried to poke it through but couldn't find anybody through there for Arsenal. Nice little bit of play. That's a lovely bit of skill there from Gabriel. Lifting it over Chris Wood's head. Out to the right hand side it comes here. Madueke lifting it into the box and headed away by Murillo. Had to be there. It was a nicely lofted cross by Noni Madueke. And then the pressure on Hudson-Odoi to try and break down the left as he's seen out of play for an Arsenal throw. A bit of added intensity there from Arsenal all of a sudden. Well, I believed Nottingham Forest were going to be playing in this, the colour that we've put up on the screen there, but clearly they're not, as that's a foul by Chris Wood. And that's an Arsenal free kick inside the Nottingham Forest half. It was Urian Timber there, not Urian Timber, Gabriel that was fouled. He was quite far over there, Gabriel. And he got the foul. And Arsenal have this free kick. The referee just making sure that the ball is in the right area before he makes sure that the wall and the defence is all okay. Gets a set up for this one. So it's on the right hand side. It's inside the Forest half. It's on the far right side. It's Ødegaard, who's had a bit of a haircut over the international break, you can see there. Inside the confines of the 18-yard box, kind of the area, the boundaries of it. But it's on the right side. Ødegaard, left-footed delivery, swings it in. Header back across. What a save by Sells. Madueke cuts it back. Ødegaard trying to get onto it and sliding in there where Forest defenders galore. Certainly wasn't cleanly defended, but it was defended nonetheless. And Forest come away with it there, but that was incredibly close. I was trying to see, I think it might have been Moreno that was in there to make that header. And that's an attempt of a ball in behind. And Gyökeres was chasing, but the balls took a deflection. It will be a corner as Ødegaard's down here. A real bit of chaos in the last minute or so. I have to see this again. The free kick gets whipped in, and it comes off a Forest head. I'm trying to see who it was. It was a Forest defender. I think it might have been Sangari, actually. Headed it back across his own goal. Mikel Merino was in there, and as the ball bounces up, it's Merino, takes it with his right foot. Great bit of goalkeeping from Matt Sells, just to spread himself, make himself as big as possible. And then as the ball comes back out to the edge of the box, Ødegaard tries to battle with Timber, and he kind of gets caught in that whole melee of bodies in there. And yeah, he's still down here, the Arsenal captain. Only back from an injury, of course, that he picked up early in the campaign. That's why he wasn't able to start the Liverpool game, because of that injury. It starts today, but Mikel Merino very close to giving Arsenal the lead. Matt Sells does a very good job of making sure that his goal is as well protected as he can make it. Ødegaard sitting up now. He should be okay to continue as he gets back to his feet, which is to the relief of the Emirates crowd. And he says the new manager is a bit of a giant killer. At times he knows how to beat the big boys. At times he does indeed. But as I said, he doesn't have a good record against the Gunners. We'll see if that can change today as they have their first corner of the game. And we know that Arsenal's prowess from corners, well documented. Corner on the right hand side here. Will be an in-swinger from that right hand side. Noni Madueke will take. Left-footed delivery into the box. The header! There was a lot of pace on it, but not quite the direction there from Gabriel. And it goes well wide. See it again. It's a good delivery by Madueke. It lifts it up, leaves it hanging in the air for almost an eternity there. And Gabriel breaks away from his man, and Dan Ndoye rises the highest. And he's just off balance as he jumps up, and he's got nowhere near the accuracy to get it anywhere near the target. It goes behind for a goal kick, but it seemed too easy for Gabriel to get free there in the box. So he tried that. Another long range forward pass there, Forest. A little bit too open. And Madueke tried to take the first touch round the defender. We got a little too excited there, Noni Madueke, as it's seen out for a Forest goal kick. But a little bit sloppy there from Murato, I think that was. He just tried to play a long pass out from his defence down the left channel, and it's a little bit unnecessary from a Forest point of view to put themselves under that sort of pressure right away. There's that ball by Milenkovic goes out of play down the right channel. Arsenal throw in. Well, in all competitions, Arsenal have won their last 6 home games against Nottingham Forest. They give it away from the throw-in there. Hudson-Odoi to Dan Ndoye down the right-hand side. Goes for the low cross. And it's caught by David Raya. Low inside his 6-yard box. Dan Ndoye, nice little effort there. Gets the better of Calafiori and then fires the ball in low and hard across the 6-yard box, but the keeper had control of it. David Raya, seen it all the way. Another heavy touch again from Arsenal. It was Gabriel this time. He gets away with it, but a couple of sloppy moves from Arsenal so far in these early moments. It's just allowing for us to win the ball back in contested areas. Another Arsenal throw-in down this left-hand side here. Calafiori will take it. Looking to find a teammate. Plays it into Mosquera. Finds it to Odegaard, who lays it off really well to Timber. Now out to the right-hand side is Madueke in space. Skips past his defender. Madueke lifts it up to the back post. And it's too high for Calafiori, who was arriving. And I think it was Mikel Merino as well in there for Arsenal. That was a nice little move. Really fluid. One-touch football. Just needed the finish. That's a nice reverse ball. Working between the lines there. Gibbs-White. Ball forward there. Blind pass by Elliot Anderson to no one in Forest colours. And Arsenal can retrieve, but trying to be a bit more tricky. They are nicknamed the Tricky Trees, which I only knew today. I only found that out today. Forest are nicknamed the Tricky Trees. Never heard it before, but there you are. Berrieza comes inside, finding Timber on the halfway line. He lays it out wide to Noni Madueke. Timber. Merino, back to Yuri and Timber. All the way back to Christian Mosquera. Under a bit of pressure. Plays it back to David Raya, who was on the scene. And sent it flying forward. Oh, let it bounce there, Murato, and to his own distaste as Gyökeres picks it up. Lays it off now to Eze, who's told to shoot. And the deflection takes it towards the hands of Matt Sells. Yeah, it was really poor from Murato. He thinks he didn't get a call from any of his teammates, but he let that one bounce. And Gyökeres just arriving behind him, waits for his moment, steals the ball away, and then plays a nice ball across edge of the box to Eza, who has a shot closed down and deflected. But again, Morato's had a tough start to this game. A couple of sloppy moves, a couple of real off the tempo kind of moments. Just not in the rhythm of the game at the minute, the Forest left back. Thank you very much, Ollie. Thank you very much for that. Andy says, hit the like for him. Thank you very much. Yes, do like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. We're edging ever closer to 30,000 subscribers, and if you could help us to get along that road, that will be greatly appreciated. Thank you all very much for joining us this afternoon for this one. So far, it's 14 and a half minutes gone at the Emirates, 0-0 between Arsenal and Nottingham Forest. That's a lovely little move there again between the lines, but Odegaard just went too early with that ball, poked it through, and no one for Arsenal. And most importantly, Victor Gyökeres was not there to try and pick it up. Murillo firing into a very tight area again, playing those risky long forward passes. Or Nottingham Forest just pinging the ball forward and hoping that they win a 50-50. And more often than not, 9 times out of 10 so far, that it's Arsenal have come away with the ball. That's a lovely little bit of skill by Eza. Left a lid on it for Odegaard as Wood tries to battle. Again, Forest keeping the just not able to retrieve the ball. Sorry. Timber down the right hand side is Madueke. Tiptoeing his way towards the box, skips inside one, blocked by the other in Elliot Anderson, who was in cover. And seen out for a throw. Well, there's Edu. Used to be the kind of director of football here at Arsenal, and made that move to Nottingham Forest. He is the global head of football, whatever that means. And this is not a good sign for Arsenal. Their captain is going to have to come off here. Martin Odegaard is coming off. He couldn't start the Liverpool game, and he started today, and he's only going to last 16 and a half minutes. Martin Odegaard, he had an issue early. He was able to continue, but he won't be able to continue for any longer. Oh, he kind of just kicked the player's leg in Gibbs White a little earlier. That's what's left him in all this pain, and applauded off the field. And Martin Odegaard, his day is done. And Ethan Nwaneri is going to be coming on in his place. Already without Bukayo Saka and William Saliba, Arsenal. And now Martin Odegaard has had to make way here this afternoon. And Ethan Nwaneri, 18 years old. He's not even their youngest. Ethan Nwaneri. He comes on to the pitch. I'll get to your comment in a moment, Turtle. Thank you very much for getting involved as Timber takes this throw. Have to go back. There, Arsenal. Mosquera feeding it to Gabriel. He has a bit of space ahead of him. He's going to stride into that midfield area and overhit the pass. And Forest able to retrieve. Gibbs White trying to flick it round the man. Well recovered by Mikel Merino. And Arsenal again. My thoughts on Ange. Well, I think Ange Postecoglou, one thing that he was at Tottenham was 100% authentically him. He wanted to play his football. He wasn't going to change for anyone, and he didn't care what anybody thought. He had that kind of no-nonsense attitude of he's going to do what he wants to do and play the football he wants to play, and he kind of was vindicated, really, in the end by winning a trophy at Tottenham, ending that 17-year drought without a trophy. So he was kind of vindicated, and you could argue from his point of view that he could say he was successful at Spurs by winning a trophy, which is exactly what Spurs is all about and what they want to be all about, is winning trophies. So here's a bit of a break here for Arsenal from the free kick. They've taken it quickly. Madueke. Nwaneri underhit it to find Timber. A little bit of a miscue there as Nwaneri picks it up again. But I think one thing on Ange, and I think that will really take a lot of taster of the Forest fans and the Forest players and even the Forest owner as well, is the fact that he is going to be unapologetically playing his football, playing his style, and getting results out of it. Albeit it was a tough second season at Spurs with the league finish, but we know what he's capable of, and we know what Ange can produce. And we'll talk about his career as well, coming up to this point at half-time, as well as Nuno Espirito Santo's time at Nottingham Forest as well. So do stick with us. At half-time we'll analyse that. Here's Noni Madueke. Again, had a lot of the action down the right side here, the Arsenal winger. Madueke dribbling through the lines. Try to roll it round the corner there, Gyökeres, but again given away. And then a fired ball forward. Again by Forest. Hopeful long balls that they're just going nowhere. I mean, they're going to no one at this minute in time. Offering nothing in an attacking sense so far. Forest without a shot in the game in the first 20 minutes. Timber down the right side comes Madueke. Gets the better of Morato again and crosses again. And the header this time was blocked. But at last came off Viktor Gyökeres. And it will be a goal kick. Yeah, really good again by Madueke. Making easy work of Morato ahead of him. And he gets the cross in. And I'm trying to see what actually happened, but it was a header. It was blocked. They initially did give a goal kick. Have they given a corner? They have given a goal kick. I was a bit confused there, but a goal kick was given. Again, Noni Madueke's looking a threat down that right-hand side. Those crosses as well from the right flank are causing issues for Forest. So far they're hanging on to defending those situations, but not convincingly. Here's Mosquera. Nice play to Nwaneri. And Madueke. He was well stopped there by Elliot Anderson, and the last touch came off Noni Madueke, so that will be a Nottingham Forest throw down this left-hand side. Well, as I was saying about Arsenal, they've won their last 6 home games in all competitions against Nottingham Forest by an aggregate scoreline of 19-2. The Gunners are unbeaten in 14 games on home soil against Forest since a 3-1 defeat back in March of 1989. Won 10 and drawn 4 of those 14 meetings. Here's Madueke again, winning the ball high for Arsenal and forcing a good challenge out of Murillo. He looked like no one could take him out there, Noni Madueke, and Murillo did well, committed in giving away the corner. Forest certainly under the cosh in the last 5-10 minutes. Arsenal have had a few chances, a few half chances. And this is another one of those corners. Madueke's last corner did find the head of Gabriel, but he couldn't direct it towards goal. Madueke to deliver again. Left-footed, pokes it into the middle. Kept away, and the shot from the rebound is blocked there from Timber. Brought back to Zubimendi, fizzing it into the box. Again away by Forest. Milinkovic this time, and Ndoye trying to send Forest on a move. Well cut out by Riccardo Calafiori, out for the throw-in. And he says, let's see how long it will take Spurs to get their next trophy. The new man at Forest never makes supporting their team boring. He broke Spurs' curse, get rid of them, did the recurse there. Yeah, 100%. I think one thing about Ange and his football is that it's not boring. That's one thing about it. It is certainly not boring. He entertains you. The many games when you watch Spurs, they were the entertainers of the Premier League over the last 2 seasons. They would give you some mad scorelines, mad games of football. They were absolutely bonkers, but it was enjoyable to watch, no doubt about it. And Zubimendi gives away a free kick there. Martin Zubimendi, who got a bit riled up at Anfield. Very intense game of football that was. One that I very thoroughly enjoyed. For more than one reason. Murillo to take this free kick then for Forest. They do have options up there. Chris Wood, Murato, Milenkovic amongst them. Yeah, the three main targets you would say from this sort of set piece. Murillo, almost at the halfway line, left-footed, fires it forward, out to the left channel, headed away well at the back post by Timber, and seen out for a Forest throw down the left-hand side. Timber had a bit of a mismatch there with him and Milenkovic, but the Dutchman did well, and then he headed it away out for a Forest throw, which they've just taken. Elliot Anderson. Forward moves on there as Arsenal try and press them all the way back, and Matt Sells now on the ball, firing it forward for Forest. Held up well by Wood. Really good hold-up play. And then bundled over by Noni Madueke was Elliot Anderson. Nice turn by Hudson-Odoi. Coming a little deeper. Gibbs White with a fizz ball down the right channel. One for Williams to chase, but Nico Williams isn't that quick. And that's a goal kick. I think they just need to have a little bit more possession. Really, Nottingham Forest, I think they do need that extra little bit of control. It's not about dominating the ball, it's about when they have the ball, being efficient with it. That's a lovely little flick ball over the top there by Gyökeres. And it's out to the left-hand side here. Moreno. Can he find anybody as Forest flood the box? And nowhere for Mikel Moreno to try and find a chink in that armour. And has to come all the way back to his defenders once more. It was a lovely first-time flick ball over the top there by Gyökeres, but Moreno couldn't quite break the lines. Nwaneri. Arsenal dominating the ball, 63% of the possession so far to Forest 37. It's not complete one-way traffic, but it is a lot in Arsenal's favour so far. Nwaneri. Nice little 1-2 between Nwaneri and Madueke, and played through here for Zubimendi, who made the run forward. Zubimendi rolls it to Eza. Aberi Eza trying to set up a shot, and had a shot through a few bodies. It was blocked and cleared away. Dan Doy, I think, got back there for Nottingham Forest. I think he's desperate for that goal. Aberi Eza, his first it would be in an Arsenal shirt. On those two occasions that he's had a chance at getting towards goal, he's been well charged down by the Forest defence. As Zubimendi. Nwaneri now in a tussle with Anderson. Well held off there. Moreno. Gabriel back to Mosquera. Urian Timber steps inside. Nice flick ball out wide, finding Zubimendi. Now to Gyökeres, who wasn't given the time of day, but it's bounced towards Madueke and back to Gyökeres, who tried the cross. Low and hard, and Murillo again was in there to block it. A little bit more fluidity from Arsenal. Forest just at times struggling to keep with the tempo of Arsenal in an attacking sense. Another corner. Noni Madueke over to take once more. Left-footed again. Hung in there, and the header is just over the bar, but I think it came off a Forest head last. It was Timber that got the first contact, and it's going to be another corner, I believe. See this again. He sneaks around the front post, Urian Timber. Gets his head to it. Just can't keep it down. It's flicked over the top. Took a deflection as well then there. It will be another Arsenal corner here in this right-hand side. Another delivery, this time to the back post, headed across by a Forest defender. Back towards Madueke, and will go again. Whips it in deep, and Sells has to flap his arm at it to make sure there was no threat in there. And another Arsenal corner will come, this time from the left-hand side. Starting to garner an extreme amount of momentum now, Arsenal, from these set pieces. It's a Barry Eza to take the corner from this left-hand side. This is a storm that Nottingham Forest need to weather. Right-footed delivery from Eza. It's high. It's punched away by Sells. Again, retrieved first time by Madueke down the right-hand side. Skips his way past Dan and Doy. Into the box comes Madueke. Tight angle, and the cutback is deflected behind by Murillo for another corner. They are so close to breaking the deadlock here, Arsenal. They are knocking at the door. And again, it's Noni Madueke. His individual quality just skips past Dan and Doy, breaks to the byline, and then tries to poke it back across goal. And as he does so, Murillo does get a strong left foot in there to put it behind. It might have hurt himself in the process, but it's another Arsenal corner. It is certainly one-way traffic now. It has been relentless from Arsenal in the last 5 minutes. And that's another corner. This will be their 6th or 7th corner of the game. And the vast majority of them in the last 2-3 minutes. Another one from this right-hand side. Another one from Madueke to take. Left-footed. Up and away this time. Oh, the rebound! Oh, what a goal! Martin Zubimendi! You couldn't hit it sweeter if you tried. What a finish! They thought they were safe from the corner, Forest, but they forgot about the rest of it. The rebound absolutely thundered into the Forest goal. An absolute cracker of a finish. And Martin Zubimendi says to Matt Sells, pick that one out of your net. A cracker of a goal. All the talk about Arsenal from corners. Well, this is an absolute cracker. The flight of the ball is just gorgeous. He takes it on the volley, and the spin, the way it spins back, is just vicious. And the keeper could not keep it out for love nor money. He throws his hands at it. He couldn't. The sheer ferocity of the shot sends it flying past Matt Sells. That is a cracker of a goal from Martin Zubimendi. It had been coming. And my goodness, what a goal it was. Arsenal have been all over Nottingham Forest, and you probably would have bet on them scoring from a corner. Well, it comes from the second phase of the corner, from a rebound. But take nothing away from that strike. It is an absolute thunderbolt of an effort from Martin Zubimendi. He created his own wind there with that finish. Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0. It was surely only a matter of time. Wow. That is fantastic, as there's going to be an issue here, stoppage for the moment, as Murillo is down. So maybe feeling it now after that quite a major amount of defending he's had to do in the last few minutes. And in the end, an unbelievable finish from Martin Zubimendi has given Arsenal the breakthrough here at the Emirates. And as I said, it was one that they were pushing for, no doubt. They had been the better team, they'd been creating the chances, and look at this, it's a corner, and you think, they've got the first contact, they've got the header, they've got it away for us, they're safe. But no, no one No one at all is anywhere near the edge of the box. There's 3 Arsenal players on the edge of the box, and not a single Forest player within 5-10 yards of them. And it's Zubimendi that gets the contact. It's Zubimendi that gets the ball, and he absolutely rifles it in on the volley. It's a cracker of a goal. Fantastic. And Murillo is back to his feet, and he's just on the sidelines there, just trying to get himself ready to return to the play. And again, they had been defending so resolutely, really hanging on in there, Forest, for the last 5 minutes before that goal. But those are the type of goals that you need a bit of luck in trying to stop. And on that occasion, there was no luck involved. Pure class from Martin Zubimendi. Now the question will be, as Andy has just put in the chat there, how will Forest respond to this? They've been struggling to get the ball forward before the goal. They've been struggling to garner any sort of ball possession. As Arsenal again, trying to shot there was Gabriel, and a little bit optimistic from that sort of position. Goes out for a throw-in. Well, Murillo's out there struggling. He's back on the field, but he does not look comfortable at all. Well, it looks like there might be another change coming here. It might be Murillo's coming off, because Nicolo Savona is getting ready on the sidelines. Long throw in from Arsenal here. Headed away at the first time and rebounded on another shot. And Zubimendi this time. Another half volley shot this time, but it flying over the bar. Wasn't too far away though. Again, it comes from a couple of headed rebounds, and he just takes it cleanly again with his right foot on the volley. This time he just sees it fly just over the crossbar, but it's got the quality. I mean, there's no way you could do one. One is rare enough. 2 would be on the rarest of rare. As that Murillo's down again. So, yeah, that will be the end of his day, I would suspect. Right now. And Nicolo Savona is coming on then for Nottingham Forest to replace Murillo, who's struggling to really walk on that leg. He is limping his way around the outskirts of the field now. So Forest having to make a defensive change, and probably one of their strongest defenders in Murillo having to come off. It's certainly not what you want to see after you've gone 1-0 down at the Emirates. And they've got a rejig there, Forest, in defence. I'll tell you about it in a second. There's a little bit of a scrap there in the midfield, and Forest get the free kick. So Nico Williams has gone to left back. Murato and Milenkovic are the centre backs, and Savona has gone to right back for Nottingham Forest. So a rejig of the defence. They have this free kick then. Elliot Anderson over it for Nottingham Forest. Right footed, it's fizzed to the far side. And that's going to be a foul. As Milenkovic tried to win the ball. Kind of threw the Arsenal player out of the way. And that's definitely an Arsenal free kick. Well, he has hobbled his way back to the bench now, Murillo. We'll be hoping that that's just a little bit of a knock rather than anything serious. They've got a lot of big games to come, Nottingham Forest, over the next few weeks and months. And they do not want to be without one of their best defenders for too long. Here is Gabriel. Zubimendi. Mosquera. Back to David Raya. Trying to find it out to the right channel, and Madueke was there, but he just couldn't take it in, and nicely seen away by Nico Williams. Forest trying to get any sort of positivity in this first half. That's a nice move down the right, kept in play by Dan and Ndoye. Wood making the move into the box, and the cross from Ndoye left a lot to be desired. Lofted in behind and behind the goal for a goal kick. And you feel that if Forest are going to threaten, it will be down that right hand side with Dan and Ndoye. He looks the more threatening of the Forest players so far. Raya just rolls that one out to Gabriel. Now Waneri. Mosquera. Waneri. Nice play round the corner. Timber. A little bit of a loose ball. And Forest able to retrieve. Down the right hand side comes Ndoye again. Goes low across the box, and it was a risky one. And it had to be defended by Mikel Merino. Did just about enough, as it was a late runner there for Forest, and Savona, I think that was, who's just on the field that made that run, and he's won Nottingham Forest a corner, their first of the game for the visitors. Yeah, the first half has flown by the way, Andy. Yeah, 100%. It has flown by. 40 minutes gone. Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Another corner, right-footed delivery into the box, up and headed away. It's a good clearance, by the way. It's back with Nico Williams. Play a little 1-2 with his goalkeeper. Williams. Excuse me. To Murato. Oh, that's a nice ball in behind. Dan and Ndoye's made the run. Flag stays down. He's come to the left-hand side, Ndoye. Lays it out wide for Hudson-Odoi. That's going to be really easy to say, isn't it? Williams to Callum Hudson-Odoi. To Elliot Anderson. He has to go backwards again. Arsenal pressing intently out of possession. That's a attempt of a ball by Anderson. Nicely won back, though, as he lost it initially. A real battler of a midfielder, Elliot Anderson. Not afraid to get into a scruffle. That's a nice play out to the left-hand side here. Williams. Better possession from Forest. Hudson-Odoi trying to force it through, and they wanted a corner there for us. They said there was a deflection from that through ball, but just a goal kick has been given. Hudson-Odoi is not particularly happy with the referee's decision. He seemed fairly sure it was a deflection. We'll have to see it again. Was there a little touch? I think there might have been on Madueke there. But, yep. It's one of those things. Easy to miss. Gyökeres dropping a little deeper, helping with the build-up. Finding Calafiore. Who sent the flyer out to Eza there, who couldn't quite keep it in play. Ndoye. Nice little 1-2s there as Sangari was beaten off the ball in the middle. Zubimendi now finding Timber, who's made the run forward, and he lays it out wide for Madueke. Into the box comes Noni Madueke onto his left. He's well seen away by Elliot Anderson, who was there to block and win the ball back again for Nottingham Forest. Rato sends it flying forward. Mosquera with a header, but it's an awkward one, picked up well by Gibbs-White. Bit better from Forest to get to the closing stages of this first half. Here's Ndoye. Been a bit more expressive, Forest, a little bit. Here's Sangare. Gibbs-White back to Ibrahim Sangare. Milenkovic to Murato. Minute and a half or so to go with the first 45 here at the Emirates. Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0. in our first game of match week 4 as we return from the international break. And it's going to be a foul. Callum Hudson-Odoi was clipped there a little late. It's a free kick to Forest, which they tried to take quickly, but the referee wasn't having any of it. A reminder for you, at half-time we'll analyse that managerial change at Nottingham Forest that occurred over the international break that was as shocking as rain in September, really. It wasn't that shocking, if I'm honest. Play down the left-hand side. Here's Nico Williams trying to work something into the box. Gets a block from the near side from Timber. Last minute of the half, and Forest a little bit more positive. And albeit we might be at the end of 45, it's not going to be the end of the half. We're hearing a lot of additional time is incoming. Forest in a decent spell here. If they can try and garner something before half-time, it could be a real interesting half-time team talk. It could come their way. That's a lovely little bit of skill from Anderson. Linking up somehow with Chris Wood. Now he lays it off to Gibbs-White. They're moving nicely here. Wood back to Gibbs-White, who was caught there, he felt, but couldn't direct it towards goal. That was really, really good football by Forest. It was Anderson and Wood and Gibbs-White. Lovely little crisp 1-2 give and goes. It was instinctive. Lovely football. Really good link up there between Wood and Gibbs-White. Lovely little give and go. And then as Gibbs-White takes the shot, he was just put off by Timber in the nick of time, and he directed it well wide. But much more positive from Nottingham Forest. Much more positive in an attacking sense. First real time we've seen the Forest attackers link up in that final third. And it almost bare fruit. 7 additional minutes, by the way, we're going to have here. So that's quite a distance. That was actually Nottingham Forest's first shot of the game. That just shows you how one-sided the first half had been in an attacking sense. Waneri. Calafiori in the midfield here. Plays it out to the right side for Madueke. Steps off his man, whips the ball into the box. Headed away by Murato. And Mosquera recycles it back to David Raya once more for Arsenal. It's lovely from Madueke to skip away from those challenges and just keep the possession. I've got to say, Arsenal have been undoubtedly the better team. No question about that, but as we say so often, it's about trying to make the scoreline as clear of your dominance as the possession and the stats. One goal is very much an achievable kind of turnover, if you can say that much. And that it's not a foregone conclusion by any stretch of the imagination. It is far from insurmountable. But they have been almost exclusively testing the opponent without much of a Forest response. Timber. Madueke. Mosquera playing to Calafiori now to the left hand side for Abere Eze. Eze dribbling towards the box, gets the brick of the ball, gets the ball across, trying to find Gyökeres, who poked his toe at it, but as he stretched off balance, it was poked behind for a goal kick. But that was great from Eze. You think the ball's gone, he gets to the byline, fires it back across, and Gyökeres, instinctive poacher's effort there, trying to throw his body at it. He does, and he couldn't direct it towards goal. Kicked by Sells. Again, Arsenal winning the first ball. Forest won the second ball, and Savona there almost got the break of it as it just evaded him and went out for a throw to the Gunners. Yeah, I would agree there, Andy. It was that movement between Wood and Gibbs-White was just gorgeous. Really good football. It was a big chance, definitely, for Nottingham Forest. Their only chance of the first half. But it was one that caused a threat. That's a lovely long field ball there by Mosquera, but unfortunately for him, Eze couldn't keep himself onside. Williams. Back to Murata, who sends it flying again over the head of Chris Wood, but the bouncing ball picked up by Hudson-Odoi, now finding Dan N'Doye. He's come to the left-hand side again. He's got Williams on the underlapping run. Works it back inside to Gibbs-White. Lots of crowded bodies in the way of Gibbs-White as he feeds it out wide again to Nico Williams. Hudson-Odoi. N'Doye. So difficult to differentiate the two. Here's Gibbs-White. I know the difference, but pronouncing them one after another sounds like you're saying the same player again. Elliot Anderson. To Milenkovic, now Sangari. Forest have been more expressive. Pushed themselves up the field a little bit more as the halves come to a conclusion, but again without a shot on target. They need to start threatening. Here's Hudson-Odoi, steps onto his right foot, still going, trying to find a shooting opportunity, lays it off, and as he did cut it back, the flag was up on the far side. For whatever reason, I wasn't too sure what that was about. Was there a foul in there? There was. Yeah, there was a foul. Wood just dragging the Arsenal defender down. That was well spotted by the official. I didn't see that. Thank you all for getting involved. We'll have a lot of chat about the first half as well, so thank you all for getting your comments in, Ollie and Andy, and just another Andy. So thank you all very much for getting involved. As we're edging close to half-time in literally the next few seconds. And there it is, the half-time whistle. The first 45 minutes of Ange Postecoglou's Nottingham Forest we have seen, and so far it's not so good for them. They've struggled, of course. Coming away to the Emirates is a difficult place to go in the Premier League, and with Arsenal's record it is even more difficult. But Martin Zubimendi was the man who broke the deadlock with his fantastic volley from the rebound of a corner. It is Arsenal again, threatening from those set pieces. Even though it was the second phase, it was still something of a quality finish by Martin Zubimendi. And at half-time, in our first game of the weekend, is Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0. We'll analyse that game, and as well, as I said, we'll talk about the managerial change at Nottingham Forest. We'll talk about all that in just a few minutes. Do stay with us. Sure, one last kick. This is going to be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal! Kvaratskhelia is through, wants to add a fourth, and does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable! Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and battered it. Another whip ball in, the header is in! By Virgil van Dijk! Incredible! Welcome back to Premier League Live on LFS. Half-time on our first game of match week 4. It's Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0 at the break at the Emirates. And it is a great goal from Martin Zubimendi that separates the sides. In the first 45 minutes, Zanj Postecoglou, of course, takes charge of Nottingham Forest for the very first time here this afternoon. And we'll analyse the game now, and then we'll have a chat about some other things to come. Actually, before we talk about the first half, a reminder for you, the Champions League is back, and we have some great games to bring you this midweek upcoming. We have games on Wednesday and Thursday night this week coming. On Wednesday night, we're at Anfield as Liverpool take on Atletico Madrid. That is a cracker of a game on match day 1 of the Champions League. Looking forward to that one. Bayern Munich and Chelsea as well that night. And PSG against Atalanta, Ajax, Inter as well. It's going to be a great night next Wednesday. And then on Thursday night, we have some amazing games, both two English teams involved as well next week. Man City taking on Napoli at the Etihad, and our feature game, Newcastle against Barcelona at St James's Park. That's next Thursday night as well. Tuesday night, Arsenal play and also do Spurs, but we will cover those games across the week as well. The Champions League is back, and it is back with a bang next week. Can't wait for that to return. Right. The Premier League is back after the international break, and at half-time it is Arsenal who lead by a goal to nil. As I said, Martin Zubimendi with that corner. And I think Arsenal leading is a vindication of how dominant they've been in that first half. As you can see, you look at the stats in that top right-hand corner of your screen. It's all red down that left-hand side of that graphic. And it proves of how dominant Arsenal have been. They've created so many chances, good chances at that. So many corners, so much possession. They've dominated probably every aspect of the pitch. And the goal really comes in an unorthodox sense, in the fact that it doesn't come from a really good bit of open play or from a corner, straight from a corner, or from a penalty or anything of that. It comes from a rebound from a corner and an absolute thunderbolt of a volley. And a cracking finish by Zubimendi. And what I wanted to pick out about the goal, not just about the technique and the way he hits the ball, but also the way the ball spins. And we talk so often about, you can just absolutely rifle a shot and you never know where it's going to go. But see, when the ball changes direction mid-flight, that is as difficult a shot to deny as there ever is, because it's the spin. It's like it's a globe spinning in the air, and it just changes direction in a split second. And at that sort of kind of ferocity, it is almost impossible to keep that sort of shot out. And it was just incredible. You know, it wasn't in the top corner. It wasn't an unbelievable, unsavable shot when the keeper was right there with his fingertips. It was just one of those unbelievable thunderbolt of a strike. It was so kind of ferocious, fierce, whatever word you want to use, in saying that it was just an unbelievable effort for Martin Zubimendi, and of course his first goal in an Arsenal shirt, of course, since joining this summer. So that, on top of it as well, it will go down certainly in his highlights reel in his career, but certainly at Arsenal, with that being his first goal for the Gunners. And at that point, it was coming. And I think I said it in the commentary of the goal, I think you would have bet your house on the fact that a goal would have come from a corner, and in the end it comes from a volley from the second phase of a corner. It's an absolute wonder of a goal, but as I said, it had been coming. Arsenal had 5 or 6 corners in a row. They were pummeling the Nottingham Forest box. They just weren't able to get out at any stage, Nottingham Forest, in that moment. And I think, although it isn't directly from a corner, I think the threat of Arsenal scoring from corners actually changes the way Nottingham Forest defend this. And I mentioned it at the time, there wasn't a Forest defender within 5-10 yards of Martin Zubimendi on the edge of the box. If you're defending a set piece, that is your one worry. Of course, you want to win your header, you want to get the ball away. They do that. But your next thought is, where's the ball go after I get the clearance? What happens then? Do we pick it up and try and hit a counter-attack? Do we try and get it out for a throw-in? Do we try and stop the play? Do we try and win a free kick? Your next phase of a corner is almost always as important as the first phase of defending that initial cross. It's as important as defending the next section of that corner, that next phase. And Forest don't do that. They commit so many bodies to defending the first phase of the corner that they leave themselves so exposed on the edge of the box that it allows Martin Zubimendi to have that chance to have the shot. Now, I'm not saying that I'm taking nothing away from Martin Zubimendi. It was an incredible finish. But from Forest's point of view, they committed so many bodies into one area that they left so many other areas exposed, and it could have easily come to three different players on the edge of the box that could have had that effort. So it was one of those where take nothing away from the finish, but from Forest's point of view, I think they got in their own heads in defending that corner. They committed too many bodies back, and yes, they defended the corner, but they left themselves exposed on the edge of the box. And those are the two things from a corner that you have to be so aware of. Is obviously when you're one-on-one battles in the box from the first phase of the corner, but also be aware of what's around you in the second phase, because anything can happen from the second phase. That shot could have took a wicked deflection and gone in from a really tight space, but you have to be there to try and block that shot. You have to be there to try and close it down, and on that occasion Forest weren't good enough at reacting to what was around them from that corner, and they got done from it, and 100% deserved from Arsenal's point of view. I'm not saying that they got that slice of luck. They totally deserved it, and they fought for it, and they got that goal. And as I said, it was well deserved. And probably should have had more than one goal from that first half performance, but it is just that one, and something Forest will have to look at into the second half. But of course, very early in the tenure, of course, of Ange Postecoglou. Ollie says, loving the commentary. Thank you very much, Ollie. Clearly, we're wreaking havoc with Madueke. He's such an exciting player, and I believe that that will baffle teams not knowing which winger to focus on. Yeah, 100%. I think Noni Madueke's been very bright down that right-hand side. And I said, if Arsenal are going to score, or if they're going to create some good chances, it's going to come from Noni Madueke down that right side, because he's getting so much of the ball, so many chances, so much space, and so many opportunity to get the ball into the box that it was almost inevitable that he would be involved. And obviously, in the end, he was whipping in the corner. In the end, that did lead to the goal. But definitely, Noni Madueke has been a real bright spark in that first half. Just another Andy says, Madueke and Eza are good additions. I think Gyökeres would be a great addition if Arsenal played a system that suited him. Yeah, I think, it takes time for players to settle in. And I think we talked about this in the Liverpool game that Arsenal played at Anfield. We talked about it's not as simple as dropping someone in and they work instantly. They have to kind of work together and find that balance between him working into the system and also the players figuring out what his runs are and working out what his best positions are, and kind of that camaraderie coming together and that kind of what's the word? Chemistry. That's the word I was looking for. The team chemistry to come together and link up together. But yeah, 100%. Looking forward to seeing how this Arsenal attack continues, because of course this is a new look Arsenal front three than we'd seen in previous seasons. All three of them joined just this summer, and it is interesting to see how they kind of link up. And so far, it's been Noni Madueke that's dominated that front three in terms of his opportunities so far. Andy says, not seen much from Gyökeres, but he's helping bring the rest of attack into play. Yeah, he's dropped a little deeper at times in that first half, trying to link it up a little bit. I'll get back to those comments in a moment, because I completely forgot. We have a segment to do at half-time, by the way, about the Forest manager. of course, let's have a look at how Nuno did as Forest manager and created some great moments for Forest. He was appointed in December of 2023. Nuno Espirito Santo, of course, sacked during the international break. He was appointed in December of 23. He got his first win on Boxing Day against Newcastle in a 3-2 win. In that one, they avoided relegation that season, finished 17th on 32 points. Confirmed safety on the second to last day of the season in the 23-24 campaign, and then went on to have an unbelievable 24-25 campaign. They reached the FA Cup semi-finals, which they eventually lost to Manchester City on the 27th of April. An incredible achievement to get to the semi-finals of the FA Cup for Forest, who hadn't been there in quite a while, and then secured European football for the first time in 3 decades at just the end of last season. An incredible achievement that Nuno Espirito Santo had, and a very successful spell at Nottingham Forest. 28 wins, 20 draws and 25 defeats from his 73 games in charge, a 38.4% win rate as Forest boss. Moving to Ange Postecoglou and what he's already done in his career. A quick recap of his career achievements. Key career achievements: he led South Melbourne to consecutive National Soccer League titles in 97-98 and 98-99, ending a 7-year drought without titles. Under Postecoglou, Brisbane Roar became the first team to win back-to-back A-League titles. He qualified for 2 World Cups as the Australia head coach in 2014 and in 2018, before he was, of course, dismissed in 2017. But he had already qualified for the 2018 World Cup by that point. He won 5 trophies in 2 full seasons as Celtic boss, including, of course, that domestic treble in the 22-23 campaign. And, of course, the highlight of it all, as you can see there pictured, he won the Europa League with Tottenham, ending a 17-year trophy drought for Spurs, who start their Champions League campaign under Thomas Frank just on Tuesday night. So it's been a whirlwind of a few weeks for Nottingham Forest and their fans, having to acclimatise to a new boss in charge. But at half-time, it has been as tough as it can be for Forest. They trailed by a 1-0, but it could have been so much more, and they had a chance of their own. The second half is on the way in just a moment, as we get ready for our next game later this evening, a London derby in East London as West Ham take on Spurs. That kicks off at 5:30. I'll have that one live here in LFS. Kickoff is at 5:30 this evening, and we're back for the second half of the Emirates in just a second. Welcome back to Premier League Live. Half-time, it is Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Second half on the way in just a second. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That'd be greatly appreciated. We thank you all for joining us at this Saturday lunchtime, spending your Saturday afternoons with us. It's great to have you joining us this afternoon. It's great to have all of your company here with us this afternoon, and we can't thank you enough for your support at the early start of this season. Well, it's sun splitting the trees in North London, but back here in Belfast it's absolutely torrid outside as we get back underway in the second half here at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal leading by a 0 at the break, and I didn't show you my predictions. We'll actually show you the prediction. I predicted a 2-1 win for Arsenal in this one. Here's a quick glance at my predictions for this weekend's games. No real shockers there. I think a draw in the Manchester derby is probably the biggest shock of the weekend. I would be predicting, but nothing too dramatic from any of those games. But we'll analyse all of those predictions as the weekend goes on LFS. There's a lovely ball in behind. Eza across. Gyökeres! 2-0. Perfect start to the second half of the Gunners. It's Eza to Gyökeres. And it's 2-0 to the Gunners. Eza with his first assist, and Victor Gyökeres with his third for Arsenal at the Emirates, in only his second appearance at the Emirates for the Gunners. And he's already flying off the mark. Again, it's a long ball down the left channel. Is Eza onside? Oh, it's incredibly tight. It's Savona that's the last man, whether he does play him onside or not. The bouncing ball behind Savona's in no man's land. He's nowhere near competing for the ball or stopping the man. Eza breaks to the ball. He gets it down the left. He squares it across the 6-yard box. And a poacher's finish from Victor Gyökeres to make it 2-0. That's good. That's beautiful. But it's poor from Forest. But it is lovely from Arsenal. And Gyökeres on the score sheet. And Eza, the one to set him up. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 0. And the goal stands. And the confirmation that Victor Gyökeres does have that goal. And Eza does have his first assist in Arsenal colours. As I said, that's his third Arsenal goal. All three have come here at the Emirates so far. Making it feel like home is Victor Gyökeres. It's absolutely pelting it down, the rain out there. It's like thunderstorm out there outside my room here. Well, it's a real storm for Nottingham Forest to try and garner, of which they've not got to grips with in this game. And the exact opposite of a perfect start to the second half for Forest. A tormentous start to the second period, conceding a goal within the first 45 seconds of the half. That's exactly the opposite of the start that they would have wanted. Here's Hudson-Odoi down the left-hand side, tussling with Jurrien Timber. Timber gets the better of his man and comes away with the ball at his feet. Gives it away though as quickly as he won it back there, Jurrien Timber though. Gibbs White. Nottingham Forest. What is next for them? What do they do here? You're in this mode of Arsenal have doubled their lead early in the second half. That's a ball across from Ndoi. Forced a good sliding tackle by Gabriel to put it behind for the corner. They'll not give up there, Nottingham Forest. They're trying to get back into this game, but it's a real mountain to climb, considering they've only scored 2 goals in the last 6 visits to the Emirates in all competitions. They need to get anything out of this game. Elliot Anderson to deliver. Right-footed. Up and away by Mosquera. Williams trying to find it back in. Edge of the box. Flicked around the corner by Milenkovic. And chasing is Savona. He did get the better of Waneri, but Marino's there to dribble his way around. Nicolo Savona there for Forest, as Arsenal, really beautiful football to play out from their own defence. They tried the little back heel there that didn't quite work on that occasion. Shows the confidence of Arsenal though to try and play out in such a dangerous area. I agree with you, Andy. It is a shame that it was a falling out off the field that ended Nuno Espirito Santo's tenure at Forest. He's doing a great job. And all the way back here with Raya. Flicked out to the right-hand side there from Mosquera. A little bit loose. And it's out to the left channel for a Forest throw. Just about keep it alive, wanting a handball there were Arsenal against Forest, but they don't need a handball to win it back, as Arsenal do have it back now in the midfield as they try and break forward. Ricardo Calafiore, well battled with there. Now Dan and Doy's breaking away from Calafiore. Dan and Doy across, and Wood off the crossbar. Now bouncing down. Hudson-Odoi well challenged. And David Raya comes to it. Mosquera had to make a good challenge there. That was scrappy from Arsenal. And Forest as close as they've come. Now here come Arsenal again. Down the right side, Madueke. Steps onto his left, spins it inside on the half volley. On the turn there from Nwaneri. That was off target. See this moment from Forest again. It's down the right side again. Dan and Doy creating chances. Breaks away from Calafiore. And then a cross comes in. Unorthodox. Off the chest of Chris Wood. Has no time to react. Comes off his chest. And deflects. Raya was committed. He palmed it onto the crossbar. It was as unorthodox as you can see. I mean, it would have been an unbelievably crazy goal if it had went in. But they get away with one there, Arsenal. Forest still very much in this game though, although they're 2-0 down. It only takes one chance to change the momentum. Arsenal dropped 21 points from winning positions last season, so they weren't at times last season able to get over the line when they had been in a good position. But something tells me this is a different Arsenal side this season. More determination and more vigour in the way that they play. Scoring in the right moments will do the job for you. And Doy tried to lay it off down the right there to Savona, who was caught by Calafiore. And that's going to be a free kick. It was good play by Forest there. But we see this chance again. We'll see the confirmation of the onside call. Savona just playing Eza onside. He is onside, Abere Eza. But Savona there got himself at a real tricky situation. He was nowhere near to contest for the ball to head it away, and then he was nowhere near the man to stop him from getting it either. He was in no man's land and paid the price for it. Free kick here to Forest down the right side though. Elliot Anderson over it. 6 Forest players in the box. Elliot Anderson to deliver. Right footed. It's deep. It's too deep, too high, and it will bobble out for an Arsenal throw on the far side. Andy says it's sunny-ish in Dublin. How close it is, you would think it's so close. You know the Irish weather. That's just impossible. Even in the same city, the weather can be sunny in one part of the city and absolutely disgusting and lashing rain in another part of the city. It's the good old Irish weather. The rain's gone off now, and we'll see the sun. The sun will come back out in the next 2 minutes. It's a guarantee. It's a guarantee. You wouldn't half know it's September, would you? The autumn has arrived. Right on cue. Anderson. That's a long ball in behind. It was one towards Ndoye. He wasn't too far away from it. It was just a yard or so ahead of him. As it was fizzed forward. Well, we know, undoubtedly, Forest need to get the next goal. There's no question about that. And something tells me if they are going to get a goal, it will be Dan and Doy that will be very heavily involved in the play. That's good work from Nwaneri there. And linking up with Timber. Nwaneri now down the right hand side to Noni Madueke, who's well challenged by Nico Williams. Williams trying to chase him away from the Forest goal. He does that well, and Zubimendi picks it up now to Gabriel. Calafiori on the left side. Nice little back heel from Eza. Flicking on from Marino into the box, who cuts it back, in the shot from Nwaneri is sent flying over the crossbar. Again, Eza there in the link-up. Nice little back heel. Just cool as a cucumber there, Barry Eza. Down that left channel. Marino making the run from midfield out wide, and then cuts it back in the edge of the box. Inside the box is Ethan Nwaneri, and he couldn't keep his shot down. But look at that from a Barry Eza. Gorgeous little flick. There's a flick on from Chris Wood, who had Callum Hudson-Odoi chasing him behind, but Christian Mosquera was well aware of that one. Arsenal switching it out here to Calafiori. Goes for the deep cross. Cleared away by Williams, only as far as Nottingham Madueke. Takes it down into the box, gets to the byline. Madueke trying to cut back again. It's nicely cut away by Sangari for Forest. Nottingham Madueke causing a threat again down that right hand side. They are going to go to the bench in a moment, the visitors. You feel that the bench could make a difference. Nice work there from Sangari. Milenkovic, lovely little link up with Wood, finding Dan and Doy. Dribbling his way into the box, and Doy bundled over by Gabriel, but no foul, said the referee. It's not a penalty. Just kind of shoves him out of the way. It's strong defending from Gabriel, if I'm honest. Eza, nice link up with Gyökeres again. Eza making the run. Gyökeres still going himself, lays it off to Noni Madueke. Madueke here, rolls it around the corner for Gyökeres again, as it hits the outside of the post, and bounces away out for the throw-in. That was again really beautiful. Again, Gyökeres creating the chance. Really nice from Madueke to lay it off for him, and then he absolutely rifles it. High, strong, powerful, and it comes crashing off the outside of the post. Matt Sells had absolutely no chance, but a banger of a shot comes clattering off the post from Victor Gyökeres, as he was as close to adding a second as he could have been there. And Forest do go to the bench. Going to make a double sub here. Chris Wood and Callum Hudson-Odoi are coming off. And we're going to see those two changes now for Nottingham Forest. It's going to see Dian Bakwa and Arno Calamuendo coming on for Nottingham Forest. Two Frenchmen, Dian Bakwa and Arno Calamuendo. Great names, by the way. That's again nice work from Arsenal from the Forest throw. Eza round the corner. Calafiori lifts it in to that corridor danger, but couldn't quite find any of his teammates there as it goes through for a goal kick. But Arsenal pushing for a third here. They're getting closer and closer to finding it. That time Calafiori's cross wasn't met by any of his teammates. Excuse me. There's a nice touch there for one of the Forest substitutes in Bakwa, breaking through the lines and causing issues and winning a free kick off Ricardo Calafiori there, Dylan Bakwa, and that's going to be a yellow card for Ricardo Calafiori, and I think that's going to be the first card of the day. I think it's just an accumulation of fouls from Riccardo Calafiori, certainly in the second half, and it's going to be a booking for him, and the first booking of the game. Forest again trying to make something of their possession, but nicely intercepted, and a lovely little drag back by Mikel Merino there. As the ball out wide to Madueke. Couldn't be kept in play. Again, Forest trying to work it quickly, but given away. Nicely won back by the Arsenal midfield. Merino. Gyökeres on the left. Well challenged by Bakwa. Getting back well there and helping out Savona down that right hand side. Sangari. Again a telegraph pass given away cheaply again by Forest. Zubimendi. Gabriel. Calafiori. Right to Ebereeza. There's a switch ball. Finding Noni Madueke. Madueke into the box. Well challenged and blocked again there, but kept it alive. Madueke recycles it back to Timber. And again to Noni Madueke. Lifting it into the box. Away by Morato. Starting to see a bit of one-way traffic coming again here for Arsenal. Gabriel breaking forward. Calafiori. Zubimendi. To Mosquera. Right to the right channel is Madueke. Don't know why I'm yawning so much. All of a sudden. Zubimendi trying to poke it through. Again, every time that they get onto the ball for us, they're just smothered. Sangari again beaten to it. Zubimendi. The Arsenal midfield running the show at the minute here at the Emirates. Wanere. Out wide to Ebereeza. Again, they're just popping it around Arsenal. Merino finding Eza. Drinking through bodies. Goes down. No foul, says the referee. Held up here by Calimuendo. Forest again trying to get going. Well, they've won just 2 out of the 16 Premier League matches against Arsenal of Nottingham Forest. Drawn 4, lost 10. And both wins came at the City Ground in 1996-97 and the 23-23 campaign. "25 minutes or so to go here at the Emirates. Arsenal 2, Forest 0. Sangari breaking the lines, trying to work it towards Gibbs-White. Couldn't quite find him that time. He was playing further forward there, Gibbs-White. And now Arsenal come away. Wanere. Timber. Down the right-hand side comes Madueke. Gets past Nico Williams. Madueke at the byline. And the cutback attempt, blocked by Morato, will be a corner. Yeah, really good work down that right-hand side from Noni Madueke. Will be a corner then here to Arsenal. And their first corner of the second half, it will be. Their 7th overall. Madueke over it once again. Left footed delivery, flicked on at the near side. Oh! Just seen over the bar there by Sells from Gyökeres' header. Well, they were calling for something there, the officials. I think they've given a free kick to Forest, actually. See it again. Delivery comes in. And yeah, it was an offside against Mosquera. Trying to impact Matt Sells and did it from an offside position. It has slowed down a little bit, but I think that's more to the Arsenal control rather than anything else. Well, that's it. A stray of his shot there from Caoimhan. He got in a little bit of a space, and it will be a corner deflected off Gabriel. Forest needs something to reignite their hopes of getting anything out of this game. They need a bolt from the blue, as they say. Something out of nothing. Slice of luck. Corner delivered in from the the right side, cleared away at the front post. There by Calafiori. Coming to make the change then. Arsenal, Ricardo Calafiori coming off, and Miles Lewis-Skelly on to replace him. A straight swap at fullback there for Arsenal. And Calafiori applauded as he leaves the field. Miles Lewis-Skelly coming on. And they're also going to make another change. Declan Rice is going to be coming on, and he's going to replace Victor Gyökeres. And he's already scored in both of his Emirates appearances for Arsenal. Victor Gyökeres. And he got the second one that has given Arsenal a little bit of headroom here. And Declan Rice on. Try and make the difference. And just get them over the line. Long throw here from Savona. Up and away by Gabriel. Well defended. As that one bobbles out for another Forest throw off the foot of Mikel Merino. And tried to be too cute with that throw in there, Forest, and tried to go for the 1-2 link up, and it has gone out of play. Well, Arsenal, no doubt their dominance today. 15 shots to Nottingham Forest 3. 4 on target to Forest's 1. They have been dominant today, Arsenal. XG of 1.50 to Forest 0.08. Barely created an opportunity of any great note today, Nottingham Forest. Moving it well down the left side this time. Very crowded area, but they've kept the possession. Here is Bakwa. Bakwa with a cross. It's into the box. It's headed away. Very good diving header by Mosquera to get it away from his goal. Now the ball played to Declan Rice, who turns to chase, finding Eza. No recognised centre forward for Arsenal at the minute. Declan Rice and Mikel Merino just drifting into that area ever so slightly. Certainly need to get something to eat and a little bit of an energy booster, I gotta say. Well, I'm keeping an eye on the 3 o'clockers a little later. The team news is in, by the way, from those 3 o'clockers. Nick Voltemata does get his first start for Newcastle, by the way, starting up front for them. And we'll have all the recap of all the 3 o'clocks results in our late coverage in the game between West Ham and Tottenham. We'll recap all of the 3 o'clock games in that stream a little later on. Nicely stepped in there by Milenkovic, but he kind of got a little bit muddled when the ball came his way. Ethan Nwaneri, nice ball down the right hand side for Madueke here. Rice drifting into the box along with Eza. Madueke waiting for his opportunity, still going, rules it out wide. Timber across, and Rice was in there, but he couldn't get a toe to it. That was close. Yeah, great play again. Timber does really well, comes in really late. Madueke must get a shout as he reverses it round the corner, and Timber just guides it across the 6-yard box. And Declan Rice throwing himself at it, just couldn't reach it. If he did reach it, it was a certain goal, because the keeper was nowhere near it. Yeah, Ollie, it's kind of, there's no recognised striker for Arsenal. It's kind of, Marino can drift in there as well as Declan Rice, but Marino is very far forward here as I spot this. And they're going to make more changes here, Nottingham Forest. It's going to see James McAtee and Ryan Yates coming on. And Morgan Gibbs-White and Ibrahim Sangari are coming off for Forest. So Sangari off for Yates and Gibbs-White off for James McAtee. It's going to be their 5 substitutions for Nottingham Forest. Again, another bit of moment for Forest that doesn't quite work their way as Eza there didn't quite get the reach of the ball that he needed. Andy says Villa team news is in. Elliott is not starting. No, he was a popper FPL pick this week. Yeah. I didn't put Harvey Elliott in my team. I actually forgot that he went to Aston Villa, if I'm honest. Wasn't at the forefront of my mind when I did my fantasy team this week. So far, so good. As Nyokerez get me 6 points each. Love that. Raya would have got me an extra 6 points. That's a bit of an issue. A little bit annoying. But, listen, can't have it all your own way. Especially after the last week went. Match week 3 was a torrid week for me. Torrid week for a lot of people, but, yeah, terrible. Timber, breaking forward again. Getting the better of Elliot Anderson. Fabulous play. Now finds Madueke and he continues his run there, Timber. And he forces a touch off the Forest defender in Morato. That's going to be a corner. Yuri and Timber tearing it up here. He had an unbelievable day against Leeds here a few weeks ago. Having a great end to this game here at the Emirates this afternoon. Corner for Arsenal. Madueke, apologies, on the other side on that right hand sided take, left footed, cleared away at the near post. It wasn't a great corner, it was low that time, and the foul actually on Morato gets a free kick to Forest. 15 minutes to go then. If Forest are going to ask any questions of Arsenal, you're going to have to do it quickly. They're really looking like they're not going to show it. Doesn't look like there's any evidence to prove that Forest will get anywhere near back into this game. The tough first game for Ange Postecoglou to take charge of. That's a lovely little jink by Eza. Gets in behind his man again, crosses it in. Up and half away by Nico Williams and kept alive in there by McAtee. And Elliot Anderson takes it down and he lays it out wide. McAtee. He wins the throw in there down the left side for Forest. Berries has looked really strong today. Certainly in that second half he's come alive and set up that second goal for Viktor Gyökeres. That's just only one piece of what he's done in the second half. He's done so much without much end product, but so much quality football from him today. Eza. Lewis Skelly. Gabriel. Back to Miles Lewis Skelly again. Well, Arsenal's 4-match winning Premier League run came to an end with their defeat to Liverpool last week, or in their last game, sorry, in the Premier League. The Gunners have not lost consecutive games in the Premier League since December of 2023. That's not going to happen today. And Nottingham Forest have lost 5 of their last 11 Premier League matches. That's only one fewer than their previous 24 games. So, not in a good run of form, our Forest, home or away. It's going to be a late foul by Nico Williams down that right-hand side. It's going to see him get a yellow card. Yeah. Just runs right into Noni Madueke there, Nico Williams, and it's definitely a yellow. So we're going to make more changes here, Arsenal now. Gabriel Martinelli and Leandro Trossard are coming on. Noni Madueke making way for Martinelli. He's played very well, Noni Madueke, on that right flank. He's coming off to be replaced by Gabriel Martinelli. And his counterpart on the other side, Iberi Eze. He's had a great day today. His first Arsenal assist this afternoon, setting up Viktor Gyökeres' goal. He's been replaced by Leandro Trossard. 2 quality wingers for Arsenal who've made a real great performance today. Crucial to getting this result. A free kick on this right-hand side for the Gunners. Taken short by Martinelli. Back to Rice. Round the corner to Trossard, who whips it back into the middle, and the header is in from Zubamendi. And there's 3-0 straight off the training ground from Arsenal. It was all but rehearsed, and Martin Zubamendi heading it, looping it over Matt Sells, and that has put the icing on top of the cake for Arsenal today. It's going to be a 3 points return for them, and it's 3 goals, 2 of which scored by Martin Zubamendi. He's not the tallest, but he rose the highest there, and he got his header into the back of the Nottingham Forest nets. Yeah, it's a really good header. Good cross by Trossard, only on the field, and he's got an assist. And it took a deflection. Nico Williams deflected off, but Zubamendi won the contact. He got up, and the deflection, fortunate indeed. But it's 3-0, and that was game, set, and match Arsenal. 3-0. Only scored 2 goals all of last season, Martin Zubamendi. He's got 2 in 1 game for Arsenal today. And a return to North London. It's going to be a losing one for the former Spurs boss, Ange Postecoglou. No doubt about that now. Bakwa. On the left-hand side, whipped in, cleared away. The Arsenal fans having a bit of fun. Are you Tottenham in disguise? Is the chant. Well, they're wearing Tottenham colours, to be fair, Nottingham Forest. And they're managed by a man who did manage Tottenham last season. So it's a very valid point to make. And the result is similar to what Arsenal's results have been in North London derbies over the last few seasons. Winning 3 out of the 4 of them over the last 2 campaigns, the Gunners. They are definitely playing Nottingham Forest, by the way, though. No doubt about that. It's a lovely little move here from Bakwa, who's been bright since he's come on for Forest, but on that occasion he was well seen out by Miles Lewis-Skelly. James McAtee. Out wide it comes here to Yates. Savona. Bakwa, nice little work finding McAtee in the edge of the box. McAtee brought down. Fairly challenged by Gabriel. And now Arsenal sent flying out of the traps here. Martinelli down the right hand side. Not getting much out of that as he switches back to Timber. Rice. 8 minutes to go. Trossard. Trying to flick the ball in, but that one's going to be seen well out by Dan Ndoye, who's played well today as well for Nottingham Forest with very little to show, but it's been difficult for him. Well, Viktor Gyökeres on the score sheet today. That's now 11 goals in his last 8 home league appearances for both Sporting and Arsenal. Scored a brace in his first Emirates appearance against Leeds, of course, 2 weeks ago. The only 2 players to score 2 or more goals in both of their first 2 home Premier League games are David Hirst in August '92 and Sergio Aguero in August and September of 2011. He hasn't done that though. He scored 3 in his first 2, but he hasn't scored 2 or more in both games. But he has scored in both games, no doubt. Viktor Gyökeres, and after a slow start against Man United and a tough day away at Liverpool, the 2 home games have been right up his street. And Forrest come forward there. The cross has gone all the way through it out the other end, but kept alive by Bakwa down the right side. Forrest maybe trying to steal that clean sheet off Arsenal. You got to say it's been quite the professional performance from Arsenal today. In that Liverpool game was a bit of a disappointment overall with the result. In a very close game, you can lose those, but such a big game to lose early in the season would have been a downer. But they've bounced back. They had the international break to maybe mull it over and get over it, get through it, and come out the other end and get back to winning ways, and that is exactly what they're going to do today. I'm going to make it 3 wins out of 4 to start the season. They will take top spot, only on goal difference ahead of Liverpool for the champions play tomorrow away at Burnley. There's a few of the injury candidates there. Bukayo Saka and William Saliba on the sidelines for the Gunners. Well, don't forget, later this evening, a London derby in the London Stadium. West Ham taking on Tottenham. That is a 5:30 kickoff from the London Stadium. Join us for that for about 5:20, and we'll have all the coverage of that one, as well as all the updates from the 3 o'clock games. 5 of them kicking off at 3 o'clock today. We'll have all the updates from all of those games at 5:30 this evening. Oh, that's a heavy touch at the back here. It's going to be a foul on Lewis-Skelly from Ryan Yates. I don't think there's much in that, if I'm honest. It's a little bit fortunate there, Miles Lewis-Skelly, to get that foul, but foul it was. Raya with a long kick. Kick out of play. Throw into Forest, deep in their own half. 4 minutes of the normal time to go. Well, what's next for these 2 teams then? We'll talk about Arsenal first. Will they have a trip to the Basque country in a few days' time. And Tuesday night they head to Athletic Club to Bilbao to face Athletic Club in the Champions League, first game of the Champions League. That's a 5:45 kickoff on Tuesday night, before they then host Manchester City next Sunday afternoon in the Premier League. That is a big game before they head to Port Vale away in the Carabao Cup the week after. Before a trip to Newcastle ends their September roster. For Nottingham Forest, it's not easy for them either. They've got a bit of a break. They're in midweek action though. They head to Swansea in the third round of the Carabao Cup on Wednesday night. And they head to Burnley next weekend, as Arsenal in the Bucks there again, before they start their Europa League campaign away from home against Real Betis. So Ange Postecoglou doesn't have his first home game in charge in Nottingham Forest until the 27th of September, 2 weeks today, when they host Sunderland. His first 4 games in charge will all be away from home. And that's what's to come for Forest then. Down the left-hand side here come Forest. Again, nowhere to manoeuvre. Arsenal, solid as a rock. No room to try and test them. McAtee. Bakwa. Anderson. Bouncing ball. Dan and Doy trying to claim it, but the bounce gets away from him. Mikel Moreno tries to keep it alive, but Elliot Anderson comes clattering in on him and gives away a free kick. Thinking about what next, Ange Postecoglou. It's only his first game in charge. A long season ahead, but a lot to resolve for Forest. This will be their second defeat of the season. Conceded 8 goals so far this season, 6 of which in the last 2 games. This game and the previous game. They lost 3-0 to West Ham at home in Nuno Espirito Santo's last game in charge. Looks like they're going to lose 3-0 away from home against the London opponent in Ange Postecoglou's first game in charge. And it'll be a perfect start at home for Arsenal. This will be 2 wins out of 2, 8 goals scored, not a goal conceded. It would be in 6 points out of 6. It would be the best home record of any team that has played 2 home games so far. Sunderland and Liverpool, the only other two sides that have won both of their opening home games of the season to this stage. Of course, there's a number of sides still to play their second home games of the season. That's a long ball into the box there. Too far ahead of Declan Rice from Ethan Nwaneri there, and that's going to be a goal kick. The one thing about Arsenal, we'll talk about, injuries could be a concern for them. You know, William Saliba out, Bukayo Saka out, Martin Odegaard having to go off in that first half. Key figures in this Arsenal team. Albeit, despite that, they've been able to win this game fairly comfortably without those 3 players. But it's the big games, it's the games where they will have coming up, in the relentless nature of the fixture list that could come to roost, although it's only early in the campaign. They don't want to derail themselves early. 4 additional minutes, by the way. And injuries are a killer, especially early in the campaign. And at the minute, it doesn't seem like it's affecting them. And this is where it will be tested when it starts to become 2 games a week rather than just the 1. That's it. Loose giveaway there by Forest again, and it's in here for Leandro Trossard to add another. Runs into his man in Milenkovic, wanting a penalty. Darren England, the referee, was there on the scene and waved away any claims. Yeah, it's definitely not a penalty. And I've got to say, VAR hasn't had much involvement today. It's been a very clean game. Hadn't needed to get involved, VAR, as Forest into the box here. Trying to get the ball into the box, cleared away there. Was the Frenchman substitute Caoimhan, and then Marino. For Arsenal came away there, was brought down by Ryan Yates, and that's going to be another free kick to the Gunners. As professional as they could have been today, Arsenal, and as difficult as it could have been for Ange Postecoglou in his first game in charge. You know, a trip to Arsenal is far from ideal in your first game in charge of the club. And games to come won't be easier, that's a bit of disrespectful, but they will be more manageable and much more attainable against this unbelievable Arsenal defence. It's for even the best of sides in the league, as we saw the champions struggle to break past them. Needed a bit of magic to win against Arsenal. You know, it will take the very best of opponents to undo this Arsenal side, because they in and of themselves are one of the very best in the league. Certainly the best defensively, in my opinion. Caoimhan, they've moved it nicely here again for us. They're going to have a shot from the edge. Easily charged down by Marino. Just a minute to go of the 94, and that's a terrible touch there by Milenkovic. The ball flicked over the top here, one in behind for Martinelli, who was just about beaten to it by Morato, who did enough. And catching the ball there was Matt Sells for Forest. As I said, midweek action for these two clubs, both away from home. Referee's just checking upon the goalkeeper of Forest. Well, after that opening day victory against Brentford, it's been all downhill really for Forest since then. A draw away at Palace was a decent result. A thumping defeat at home against West Ham, and it will be another similar defeat to Arsenal on the road. And it might not be done yet, Arsenal. Rice trying to work it in behind. Well blocked again. For Arsenal, it'll be 3 wins out of 4 in the league. And it's Forest on the break here. It's Caoimhan breaks into the box, trying to shot. Blocked well at the near side by Gabriel. Will be a corner. That will be the last action of the game. It is. No time for the corner. It's the full-time whistle. And it is a deserved 3 points for Arsenal. They have been the better side from minute one. They were all over Nottingham Forest. It was as tough as it could have been of a start for Ange Postecoglou as the Forest boss. And as similar themes for him against Arsenal. He cannot find a way past them. Today his team could barely muster up a chance to get anywhere near the Arsenal goal. A lot of work for him and his team to do. And a lot of time to do it in, and a lot of games to work through over this month. Martin Zubimendi's thunderbolt of an effort opened the scoring. It was 2 within a blink of an eye at the start of the second half when Victor Gyökeres converted from an Eze cross. And it was 3-0 when an unorthodox header from Martin Zubimendi deflected off Nico Williams and looped past the Forest keeper to make it 3. No doubting that Arsenal deserved the result today. They were incredible in and out of possession. Defensively resolute and attackingly Swedish alike. A couple of great performances from Eze and from Madueke and Zubimendi and Gyökeres. You can name them all. That was a professional a performance as it could have been for the Gunners, and they're right back on track after that defeat away at Anfield a few weeks ago before the international break. They're back on track with a winning ways and a clean sheet to boot as well. Final score at the Emirates in the lunchtime kickoff this Saturday afternoon. It is finished Arsenal 3, Nottingham Forest 0. And that is your first result of the weekend. Done and dusted. 4 games to come here in LFS across the weekend, and we'll have 2 to round off your afternoon in evening action in London derbies. And we are back at 5:30 as West Ham United host Tottenham Hotspur at 5:30. That is followed by a London derby in West London later this evening at 8 o'clock kickoff as Brentford host Chelsea from 8. Then tomorrow a double header of Sunday action as Burnley host the champions Liverpool and Manchester City face Man United in the Manchester derby. That's at 4:30 tomorrow in our game of the week. That is it from us for now. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been a great afternoon to get your weekend up and running. We're back later this evening where we will recap all of the 3 o'clockers and have some more live commentaries for you. Thank you very much for your company. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.